Welcome to Today in Prophecy Daily News in 15 minutes or less. It's news from the perspective of the Bible. Well, a lot going on. Israel tells military to draft plan for Gazans to leave Gaza. And check this out. South Africa's president signs a law that will enable seizure of white commercial farmers' land. Moving on from there, nearly half of Germans feel unsafe in their own neighborhoods, thanks to mass migration. Well, let's get going here. Israel tells military to draft plan for Gazans to leave Gaza. Israeli defense minister says Thursday that he had ordered Israel's military to draft a plan to allow Gazans to voluntarily leave the enclave, a move that comes after President Trump's proposal for a massive resettlement of Palestinians and a U.S.-led takeover of the territory. It was far from clear whether the proposal would be carried out, where the Israeli authorities hoped the Gazans would go, or how many people they imagined would leave. But Israel Katz, the defense minister, praised Mr. Trump's initiative, saying it could allow a large population in Gaza to leave for various places in the world. Well, where are they going to be wanted? When you start looking, they say, looking for them in the world. Listen, people are fed up with the Palestinians. Anybody who's been following this and thinking through it, nobody wants the Palestinians. The Egyptians don't want them. Even though the majority of Palestinians are Egyptian or Jordanian and then some Syrians, Jordan doesn't want them. Why don't they want them? They're trouble and they know it. Why doesn't Egypt want them? They're trouble and they know it. Very interesting as you look at things that are here on in the United States of America. You would listening to people on college campuses and the media over the last couple of years. You would think that everybody just wants the Palestinians to come and live in their home, but nobody who knows them actually wants them to come to their home. In Europe, they don't even want them. That should tell you something right there. But people on college campuses here in America are saying, we want to move to Gaza. Well, let's allow you to move to Gaza. But now it appears the people of Gaza may be moving out, but we're going to see exactly how this develops. Okay, as we're watching things, very interesting, as we've seen the news this week with Trump saying the U.S. is going to own Gaza. It's a very good chance, I believe, as I'm looking at it more and more and talking to more and more people. This is part of Trump's art of the deal. You throw out something that is outrageous, and it causes people to throw up their arms, but it gets them to the negotiating table. No doubt Trump is up to something in this, but I want you to think of these words. I talked about it yesterday with Bill Salas. Isaiah chapter 11. In Isaiah chapter 11, beginning in verse 11, we have the context of this, and it says, "It shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Cush, in fact, he says, verse 12, he will set up a banner for the nations and will assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth." So we know the context of the prophecy I'm about ready to read to you. The context is the last days, after Israel has been gathered back into their land. We saw that officially take place in 1948, and then we see them continuing to be gathered back into the land. Jews doing their aliyah from where? The four corners of the earth, all parts of the earth. Continues from there and says, "Also the envy of Ephraim shall depart, the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, Judah shall not harass Ephraim, but they shall fly down upon the shoulder of the Philistines toward the west. Together they shall plunder the people of the east. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab. The people of Ammon shall obey them." That's talking about Jordan. "And the Lord will utterly destroy the tongue of the sea of Egypt." So what God is saying is, after Israel is gathered back a second time, this prophecy has not yet been fulfilled since Israel's been back in the land. What's going to happen? The people of Israel are going to get along. Ephraim and Judah, they're going to get along. The northern tribes and the southern tribes, they're going to get along. What are they going to do? They're going to disperse the people of the land of the Philistines. That's Gaza. And then also Jordan and Egypt. So when you look at Trump saying, hey, Jordan and Egypt are going to be taking these Palestinians, and we look at what's going on with Gaza, To me, this is truly amazing. All three territories mentioned here, and this is a last days prophecy about what's going to happen to Gaza. And we know that because it's talking about after Israel is back in the land. What is Israel going to do? And it appears to be it's going to be at the hand of Israel, Ephraim and Judah, as they work together. You move on from there, Zephaniah chapter 2, Ezekiel chapter 25, and you find out that Israel ends up inhabiting the land of the seacoast. Ultimately, it has its fulfillment during the millennial kingdom, but we are watching everything lead up to this. And truly, friends, this is amazing to watch all of these different dynamics that are taking place right now. Moving on from there, next article, anti-Semitic attacks mar Australia's legacy as a haven for the Jews. Attacks in Australia have targeted synagogues, homes, and cars. In 2017, Alex Reichen bought a house on the Sydney street that his grandfather viewed as a safe haven after fleeing persecution of Jews in the Soviet Union in the 1980s. However, last month, the house's garage was daubed with red paint, cars parked outside were set alight, and slathered with anti-Semitic graffiti. And we're hearing more and more reports of this coming out of Australia. One of my very good friends, by the way, he is now the ambassador for Israel in Australia. I believe he's located in Melbourne. Dr. Hillel Newman, I've had him on this program before. Such a neat guy. He's been on his channel with me. He's been here at Hope for Our Times with me. He was the former consul general in Los Angeles, and he was one of the Jews who was understanding the need to reach out to the evangelical community. Just a wonderful person. Really felt a blessing to get to know him. In fact, we were invited and went to his house for Sukkot Tabernacles in the Tel Aviv area back in October before he had left for Australia. But I look at that and I actually told him, I said, man, we'll be praying for you. But you look at this, listen, Jews aren't wanted anywhere. They're not even wanted in their own land. And yet they're not wanted anywhere else in the world, but we can see things closing in on the nation of Israel, the people of Israel. We can see all of these different prophecies coming together, converging at the same time. Moving on, South Africa's president signs law that will enable seizure of white commercial farmers' land. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to cut off all future funding to South Africa due to the country's new land expropriation law, which will lead to the confiscation of land from white farmers. Trump says it is a massive human rights violation against white people. Elon Musk has also criticized the South African government's land reform policies, accusing them of being anti-white and allowing a genocide against white farmers. Listen, we have a lot of viewers in South Africa. God bless you guys. I've met some of you. Some of you have been to Israel with me. We are praying for you. But I look at this and I think, you know, so much here in America, everything's about racism, and that's what they say. They tell us everything's about, if you just don't agree with the policies on the left, you're a racist. We watch what's happening in South Africa, farmland being taken away from the white farmers. Well, who is it that's going to continue to farm the land? Nobody is going to. It's like they're cutting off their own, they're shooting themselves in the foot as you watch what is happening there, but it's also evil. I was watching video the other day of a black man who was speaking and saying, for every one of us that's killed, kill 5 white people. How many white people kill 5 white people? I'm watching this and going, things are escalating. Our prayers are for you guys. I don't know all of the different areas of South Africa this is affecting, but God bless you guys. We're watching this increase of lawlessness. Jesus himself said in Matthew chapter 24 that lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Folks, we are seeing it. Very interesting. When you look at the dynamics of the last days, what do you have? You have 2 different things that take place at the same time. Both come about in the last days. Lawlessness abounding, and at the same time, when Antichrist is on the scene, he's going to have complete control over lawlessness. So how does that work? I believe it's real simple. you instigate the lawlessness, you get people upset, you get the riots, you wreak all the havoc you possibly can, even killing people. And when it gets bad enough, look what's happening over in Europe. In fact, I have a special drop on his channel coming tomorrow, and then again next week right here on Hope for Our Times. I'm going to talk about what's going on in Europe. But as we look at these things that are taking place and the lawlessness abounding, what it does, it gets the people to a point of crying out and saying, save us. So right now, as we look at things going on in Europe, now we see South Africa, eventually the wickedness being used by some of these world leaders, think George Soros and the like, used against the law-abiding citizens. The law-abiding citizens are finally, they're shut up, they're called racist, they're censored, they're put in prison, they're put in jail like is happening over in Europe. And then after you get enough of that taken care of, then they'll go after the people who are causing the lawlessness, because they're just using them as their billy club to beat up the people, start the riots, but ultimately gives these people in power the ability to rise to more power, because the people will cry out, put an end to this, put an end to this. And the intent is that people will surrender their freedoms in order for government to save them, when all along, just like we see here in South Africa, we see it happening over in Europe. It's government causing the problems, government instigating the problems, government encouraging, just like we've had here in America, especially when you look back at the Biden-Harris regime, and thank the Lord, it would have been the Harris tampon Tim regime, but you'll look at that, and the government was causing so many problems. Right now, as we look at what's going on also with U.S. aid, James Cadiz and I talked about it earlier today on You Can't Make This Up. What? The bishop, that bishop who led that prayer meeting that Trump was sitting at, as she went on to just scold him for his immigration policies. Well, it turns out in 2023, her organization received $53 million of your taxpayer money. 2024, the numbers aren't even out yet. By the way, the $53 million helped out 3,600 illegals. Think of it that way. You're looking, oh, this is just crazy. As far as I know, it's illegals. It's immigrants, legally or illegally. You look at this, $53 million, follow the money trail. And then we find out more and more things that are being exposed by by Elon Musk and Dodge. A lot of people don't like it. I'll tell you why a lot of people don't like it, because they're being exposed. Religious leaders like her don't like it. How many religious leaders, how many pastors are going to be exposed? How many of them have gone woke because they are receiving government funds? Wow, this is going to be interesting. You cut off that money supply and see what happens. Moving on, nearly half of Germans feel unsafe in their own neighborhoods thanks to mass migration. I was just talking about this. 81% say country has taken in too many refugees. So there it is. I was just talking about this. This is a problem. 81%, too many refugees. Listen, the government doing this intentionally. And then you look again, what's being disclosed, U.S. aid and all of the money, taxpayer money, going to support criminals. How many people are going to be exposed now that Pam Bondi's in saying, hey, we're going to drop the Epstein files? How many people are going to be exposed? How many people are going to be exposed with the U.S. aid money and whatever other taxpayer money that's gone to child trafficking, 500,000 children? You look at this, you go, let's see, let's get it all exposed. Wickedness, I'm telling you. Check this out. U.S. officials unite behind Trump plan for Gaza relocation and rebuilding plan. Next article, Israeli politicians welcome Trump's proposal for U.S. takeover of Gaza. So you have U.S. officials, Israeli officials, they're welcoming it. But look at this, the EU rejects Trump's post-war plan, says Gaza an integral part of a Palestinian state. The absurdity of that is just off the charts. Listen, these people are terrorists. They're terrorists. And you look at almost all of the people in the area of Gaza have been radicalized too. Just insane. But this figure is coming out of the EU. And listen, for all of you who watch us over there in the EU, God bless you guys. You are in a very difficult spot, kind of like South Africa. We are praying for you. God bless you guys. We're out of time for today. And I will see you next time.